Hello and welcome once again to the Czech Republic in the Prague leg of Season 9 of the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour. It is final table day in the Czech capital. Only 8 remain from the 864 who started in our €5,000 main event. And today we will play down to a champion, the third champion of Season 9, the final EPT champion of 2012. I'm James Hartigan, joined once again by Matt Broughton.
Poker, poker, poker. That's it. That's my contribution. Thank you. Goodbye.
Awesome. You can see the stacks at the table. The players have yet to take their seats. The biggest stack at the table, Matt, belongs to Ramsey Jalassi, a Swedish player who's been a regular on the tour since Season 2 and has come oh so close, oh so many times, has finally made a final table and is in contention to win his first EPT title. Yeah,
he was the hand that took us out of yesterday. It was a massive hand. I must admit, I kind of thought we were in for a long slog yesterday. But big hand came up and he has walked away with that with 5.6 million chips to start today.
Second in chips, Ali Plowski. He's a Belarusian player looking to become only the third ever Belarusian to win an EPT and the second one this season. He made the final table of the grand final back in Season 6. David Boyasian is a Dutch player who came second in this tournament last year. Obviously hoping to go one better this time around. We've got the Greek player, Sotirios Koutopoulos. We've got Ben Warrington from the UK, and I appreciate there's going to be a lot of British poker fans watching who'll be flying the flag for Ben. Sergei Kuzminsky is a Russian online qualifier. Mark Herm is an established US pro who's had a number of cashes on the other side of the Atlantic, especially at the World Series of Poker, but is really looking to make an impact on European soil. And last, but by no means least, we have Diego Gomez, who has turned up for today's final table dressed as a lion.
It's absolutely true. He is dressed as a lion in a onesie, jama, lion thing. More on that later.
And here's what they're playing for. First man out, €75,000. The champion of EPT Prague will walk away with €835,000, plus a posh, shiny trophy and the prestige that comes with being an EPT champion, a select club which has fewer than 100 members. Still no two-time champion, Matt. It's so weird. Every other major tour has had two-time winners, but we still have not had one on the EPT. Roberto Romanello made it into the final 21, but was the first man out yesterday.
Yeah, it was a story we were hoping to follow that would take us through to today, but actually I think it was lasted 3 hands, was it, for Roberto?
Yeah.
So not this time, but I've got a good feeling about this season. Definitely going to happen, and that's an ironclad guarantee you can take to the bank.
You can get in touch with us here by using the hashtag EPT Live on Twitter. We will also keep an eye on our email inbox. nuts@pokerstars.tv is the email address, but Twitter is fast, it's immediate, and most importantly of all, it's brief. We do have a little bit of unfinished business from yesterday, actually, and don't want to obviously ruin the prestige of today's proceedings. However, Matt set you a competition question at the end of yesterday concerning what was on his pyjamas, and I want to make it clear we are talking about the pattern on his pyjamas, not any object or substance that may have accidentally come into contact with his pyjamas.
Not where I've poured something down myself or had an accident in the night. What's on? It's a competition we're calling simply "What's on my pyjamas?" I think we had Mickey Mouse. That was a no. I think we just... There was some fruit or someone said bananas.
A connection of strawberries and bananas.
Yeah, it's not fruit. I can tell you it's not fruit. But if you'd like to get involved, hashtag EPT Live. Also, if you want to have a quick look on hashtag EPT Live, you'll also see a picture of said lion stroke tiger Gomez in his full glory. He was out there posing with enthusiasts and fans and spectators. If he hasn't come here to win, he's come here to have a bloomin' good time.
I think we're going to have some entertainment today as well as some good poker. Of course, once we've wrapped up in Prague, the EPT takes its break from Europe and goes across the Atlantic to the Caribbean for the 10-day PCA, and it's the 10th ever PokerStars Caribbean Adventure, kicking off on the 5th of January at the Atlantis Resort and Casino on Paradise Island. 40 events and satellites still running on PokerStars, plus there'll be live coverage of several final tables from the PCA during the month of January. All the details available at pokerstars.tv. The players now posing for the official photograph. There is our first sight of Diego Gomez in the lion costume. He's putting the hood up. He may even give us a grrr if we're lucky.
Well, one can only hope, can't they, that poker has come so far that a man who stands to win hundreds of thousands of euros can turn up dressed as a lion.
What I find ironic, Matt, is that you and I have had the debate on several EPT stops about whether there should be some kind of dress code for an EPT final table, whether players should wear tuxedos, for example, at the grand final, or at least a collared shirt and make an impression. I don't think we expected anyone to wear a one-piece pyjama animal outfit.
No, although I'm interested to see the Herminator is rocking the scarf shirt combo again, even though they don't match. Again, if you were with us yesterday, as things were getting drawn pretty thin, we were commentating on the costume. But look, line in the middle, tremendous fun. Everyone's having a tremendous time here, especially Diego Gomez.
Yesterday, you'll remember Diego was wearing a bow tie and some lizard spectacles, as famously modelled by Greg Raymer in the 2005 World Series. Now, this is a guy who bubbled 3 online satellites for EPT Prague, then decided just to show up here and managed to win a seat in a live satellite, as well as winning a side event on the Eureka Poker Tour for about 5,500 euros. And there are plenty of Spanish players and many of Diego's friends who are here at the Hilton Prague railing him. There is yet to be a Spanish winner on the EPT. They're hoping he will become the first.
Although the photographer's hoping he isn't. But certainly it will make for an interesting press release in the morning, trying to explain why there's a man who at one point was down to 1 big blind apparently in his qualifier. He got himself down to 1 big blind, managed to get himself here. Now he's on the final table and is dressed as a lion. News.
Your thoughts on the lion costume, your predictions for a winner, who you're supporting today. All such content is more than welcome. Remember, the hashtag is EPT Live. You can also email nuts@pokerstars.tv and continue guessing at what illustration adorns Matt Broughton's pyjamas. Let's talk about a couple of the other players at the table. Ben Warrington. Now, obviously there's a lot of British poker fans. We know that a lot of our viewers, Matt, come from the UK. Understandably, we're going to get behind this guy. Had a lot of success both live and online, $2 million in tournament winnings alone online, and is now really establishing himself as a live player and looking for his first really big live score here in Prague.
Yeah, I think the thing is we spoke yesterday about the size of the attendance here at these events and how much of a boost it is, but also brilliant that we still have this mixture of not necessarily recreational players, but like guys with a full-time job and they're going to leave here and go back. The pros as well sitting side by side. The crazy guys dressed as lions. Is that it's great that we still have this mixture of profile, the really top players, but it still shows the skill level of these guys that don't even consider themselves professionals, but sitting side by side. And yesterday, some great duels going on. And you wouldn't be able to sit this and go, well, here's the pro and here's the guy that's just sort of here on a whim. But yeah, no, impressive stuff. A lot of people getting behind Mark Herm yesterday and also really excited about Ben Warrington's involvement in this. So be just good to see if he manages to make a bit of an impression today. We didn't really get to see him play much yesterday. We had him on the feature table, but never really actually saw him kick through the gears.
He comes into today with a stack of 2.2 million. He is one of the middling stacks at our final table. A bit later on, we will give you the password for today's free roll, which definitely 100% starts at 9:15 local time. That's 3:15 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. One last note on Ben Warrington, by the way. I will be as objective as I always am, but I noticed that Ben is from Epsom in Surrey, which is about 1 mile down the road from where I grew up. So it'd be nice to see one of my sort of fellow Surrey people take down an EPT.
Is there something in the water? Because you're a tremendous player. So I can only assume that maybe...
You misread that. You missed out a word. Tremendously bad.
Ah, that's right. I knew that there was some sort of tremendousness going on. I just couldn't remember if it was a good or bad thing. Now we know.
David Boyasian from Amsterdam was at this final table last year. He was the runner-up to Martin Finger. He is back at the final table. I think he comes into the final third in chips, just behind Ali Plowski. He's got 4.6 million. He seemed to be on a good run yesterday, Matt. We did get to see a bit of David's play at the feature table.
Yeah, he was, I liked his demeanour, if I may say so. He seemed very kind of in control of the whole scenario, and when things slowed down a bit, he was one of those guys that just kept taking a little chunk away here and there, kept himself topped up. And I think people would be scared of him just because of his history and because he had the chips at the time to really, bully people. But as you say, 4.6 million is going to start it today, so going to be a real obstacle for the other players to get through.
Hello to Christoph on Twitter. He says, I think the lion thing is hilarious. At least he'll have fun. Matt's pyjamas clearly have teddy bears and skyscrapers on them.
Wrong. Keep trying. What's on my pyjamas? 2012.
As we get a good look at the stacks of the players at the final table, the chip denominations are on your screen at the moment. The blues are the smallest in play, 5,000. The yellows are worth 25,000. We have yet to bring out the sexy green and black chips, the 100,000 chips, and that disappoints me.
Yeah, they're on their way. They're on the way, don't worry. Another thing to be said about Boyasin is apparently he took some time off, because he's one of the guys that falls in the category of this is not his full-time job.
Yes.
But clearly taking it very seriously and paying off, because according to the information we had, he took a year off to really focus on his game and, you know, really serious about making the best of this situation, no doubt. But going to go home, just turn back into a normal person.
Yeah, it's interesting that having come second in this tournament and winning more than €500,000, he decides to take that 12-month break and just see how he does on the poker circuit. Has had some good results, and his year off work ends where it began, at the final table of this tournament.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, isn't it, with poker? It's become one of the, you know, in the old days, everyone's story of how they got into poker was very varied. But quite often here, people kind of bump into poker and have a little go at it, and they take some big result and then think, actually, I'd rather like to have a proper go. This is everyone's dream. Take a year off work and have a proper go at being a pro.
Martin says, should study now, but I can't because of the EPT live stream. It's starting right now. Good luck to Mr. Warrington and Herm. Is it fair to say that's the kind of pros choice, Matt, that these players, Warrington and Herm, it's felt that they have the credibility, that they have they're the pros' choice, as it were, to win this?
Yeah, I mean, when we had a couple of guys sit with us, some of the guests yesterday, and Liv, I think, was the last one that was with us, and again, she straight jumped for Mark, even though Mark, I think, at the time had the least in chips. Here he is sort of in the bottom three, but everyone's bang straight for him, just because for a lot of guys this would be quite an unusual situation. I like Diego's approach to it, which is just like, let's just have fun and not get too hard and heavy about it. But yeah, a lot of people picking on Mark as the favourite.
The players now taking their seats at the final table. First up in seat number 1, David Boyasin, 4.6 million chips, last year's runner-up. In seat number 2 is the Russian qualifier, a linguistics student, 22 years old, Sergei Kuzminsky, starting the final table with 1.85 million. Chip leader in seat number 3, EPT regular Ramzi Jalassi, only 26 years old, but he has been on the tour since season 2. He won his seat online to Barcelona at the start of season 2. He also has an IPT title to his credit. And now he is chip leader at the final table of EPT Prague. Here comes Ben Warrington, 25 years old, now lives in London in the UK. And there are plenty of Brits on the rail supporting this young man. Let's hope they don't have too many shandies. We've seen what can happen.
Can get noisy.
Seat number 5, Sotirios Koutapas. He's an online qualifier from Greece, here via an €82 satellite. He's been one of the chip leaders since day 3. Mark Herm is from Philadelphia in the US. In fact, we've heard on Twitter from Mark's mum, the lion does not hold a candle to Chip Heritage Herm. His Gumby costume ravages. Christmas costumes ordered. Ale Plowski has been in the final table before, the final table of the EPT Grand Final, no less. He's second in chips at the start of today with 4.7 million. The shortest stack is the Spanish live satellite winner, the man in the lion costume, Diego Gomez.
Yeah, a bit upset to find that he's in seat 8, because we're not going to get a tremendous look at him. We're going to have to watch the top of his lion head for the rest of the tournament. But good on him, tremendous.
Melvin, Ellie, Edna saying hello from Australia. We're ready to watch. Where are you watching from? Hashtag EPT Live. Remember, no hole cards at this final table. This is what we call EPT Live Light. We've got fixed cameras covering the final table. No hole cards will be revealed unless the hand is played to showdown. Blinds are currently 20 and 40,000 with a 5,000 ante. There's about 7 minutes left on this level, and then the blinds go up to 25 and 50,000.
This is EPT Prague, and this is our main event, final table.
Thanks for confirming that, Teresa.
It's always good to know.
By the looks of things, action will start with Sergei Kuzminsky on the button and Ramzi Jalassi and Ben Warrington in the blinds.
We currently have 7 minutes left on the level that we...
A whole 7 minutes to enjoy before the level bumps up then.
I mean, no one really that short. I mean, this is showing you the players in seat order, and obviously on the right-hand column you can see their position in terms of chips. Boyacin in the 1 seat, Kuzminski, Jalassi, Warrington, Kutapas, Herm, Plowski and Gomez rounding us off in the 8 seat. In terms of table draw, Matt, and obviously they did the draw when they went 9-handed. Who's got the best seat at this table?
It's easy. It's Jalassi because he's got 5.6 million. He doesn't care where he sits.
However, he does have Ben Warrington directly to his left. I know he's got the chips, but Warrington is not a player I'd necessarily want to have on my direct left.
Yeah, no, I mean, joking aside, that's the problem for him, is that he's going to have to fight through him. And also Katupas, who actually has, shown himself to be pretty capable in the last few days, which is kind of pretty obvious thing to say, but what I'm saying is that, so he's got that run up, and then bang, Mark Herm at the end, who almost fortunately for Jalassi doesn't have an enormous stack of chips, but he's still got enough to play his way out of this. So it's kind of, that's the double-edged sword for Jalassi, is, yeah, got a load of chips, but he's got a horrible lineup behind him, ending with Plowski before he even gets to the Lion, which might be considered light relief, but is half a table away, frankly.
Action has been folded to Sergei Kuzminski on the button. First hand of the EPT Prague final table, and now it's on Jalassi in the small blind. Well, hopefully this is not a sign of things to be. It's a walk for the big blind on the very first hand of the day.
Action, action, action. Tune in for more of this. Fold for fold, 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 win is the way of the game. Don't worry, we'll be flopping quads later.
Hopefully some members of Team PokerStars Pro will join us a bit later on co-commentary duties. We're hoping that Eugene Kachalov can pop by. Also Elke and Jason Mercier and Jonathan Duhamel. Not guaranteed, because obviously these guys are playing many of the side events at this festival in Prague, and should they have success in those tournaments, we won't be seeing them.
Still trying to think about your question as who's got the best seat, but I can't really see a soft seat, because everyone kind of has somebody of worth. There's no easy stacks to pick on.
Well, if anyone out there has a view on it in terms of the table draw, do let us know. EPT Live is the hashtag on Twitter. That's certainly the hashtag that Luis has just used to say, all hail the Lion King. Watching from Valencia, hoping for miracles, i.e. Diego's victory. By the way, do Matt's pyjamas have little dinosaurs on them?
No, that's a good shout. I kind of wish they did. No, do keep your guesses coming in. Make it quite clear there's a sachet of sugar is the prize. You will have to come to Prague to collect it, but we have it here. I could just confirm the sugar is standing by. Brown sugar, if you can guess what's on my pyjamas. Hoping for a small ticker tape thing at some point across the screen. We'll probably say that. But what's on my pyjamas? In italics. Possibly bold or all in caps. That's all I want.
And number 2 of the final table was a button raise from Ramsey Jalassi, which got both blinds to fold. Interesting note on Ramsey, and I'm quoting directly, by the way, here from the biographical information provided by the PokerStars blog team.
Oh, you've ruined it. Everyone thought you just knew all that stuff.
He was a successful soccer player. I am not the only person who uses the S word to describe the game where people kick a ball around a field.
I mean, when you say successful, what, he scored a goal once, or he's made millions?
Or, as a 16-year-old, he played in the highest boys' league in Sweden.
I mean, that still doesn't really mean anything to me. I mean, I'm the Havering Discus Championship winner. I still am, but only because they cancelled it the year after I won it. Because there was so little interest in throwing a discus as a small boy.
Oh, Ben Robertson is not amused.
Oh, no.
Guys, just tuned in. Why the hell is someone wearing a onesie? They are inappropriate at the best of times, never mind at a final table.
Do you know what? This guy has spent days playing poker to get here. He can wear what he wants as far as I'm concerned. Got Robin Hood down the end. Lion-O up here. Jalassi, he was busy yesterday. He was at some point we dragged up some stats just to confirm a guess, but it felt like he was the player most likely to abuse any opportunity. If somebody even vaguely looked like this is one of those hands where no one fancies it, Jalassi would be the first to take a little stab with him in raise.
But this is what I expected would happen, is that Ben Warrington will show him some resistance. So Jalassi raising for the second hand in a row, this time from the cutoff, but Ben Warrington immediately 3 bets, making it 200,000 total. The blinds fold, it's back on Jalassi. Yeah,
and this is an immediate reflection of the comment that says, you know, Jalassi comes here as chip leader, but he's got a real horrible trail of players directly to his left that are just going to make life very difficult for him. I guess the good thing with the fact that that table draw got established yesterday is, you know, if players want to go away and think about how they approach today and what strategy and what sort of gear they come in at, they already have a real good feel for exactly the day they're going to have.
And the 3-bet from the button gets through. Hand number 3 goes to Ben Warrington. Jacob says, good luck to the online Sharks. That's who he's supporting in this tournament. Who are you getting behind? EPT Live is the hashtag on Twitter. And remember, do tell us where in the world you are watching. Always intrigued at people who get up at ungodly hours to watch some poker.
Well, what else are you going to do on a Saturday? I mean, Saturday's such a quiet day, isn't it?
Action will be on the Lion.
The Lion. Diego Gomez folds. Raw, he says he's off to chase down an elk.
I had no idea the costume had a tail. I hadn't spotted that before.
Yes. Oh, sorry, it was a milk, not an elk. I misread that. Yeah, it's got a tail. I've got a photo, actually, of him from behind, as they say. I'll post that up at some point. Something to look forward to, along with the pyjamas. Crazy times here.
Folded round to the small blind. Action on Mark Herm.
Yeah, not much of a welcome for these guys. In about a minute's time, the blinds are going to go up. Just make it clear, not every single level lasts 7 minutes. It's just this one. The rest of them will be considerably longer. This won't be over by 2:30. 95, mixing it up.
And Plowski calls.
Yeah. It's a bit like the comment yesterday we were saying, well, with the kind of this pre-flop raise, is there much difference in the effect you have between a min raise and adding a bit more on top? Because generally you're going to find a player that's going to defend or isn't.
Queen Jack 6 with 2 clubs. Will Herm continue?
Things it's very hard to work out generally how far into these kind of hands that the blind on blinds plan, because a lot of the time the plan is just, well, rather than give up the small, I may as well have a pop at this, and then suddenly you find yourself in a proper hand.
Mark Herm was on our feature table yesterday for a relatively brief amount of time, but he's a very deliberate player, takes his time over his decisions.
Although there is one player here I think takes a little bit longer over his decisions. We've yet to find out.
If you're referring to Mr. Kutipes, to be fair, he'd speed up a little bit towards the end of play yesterday.
He did. Okay, well, Plowski's not going to go away. If it was a continuation bet, it's not done the job.
7 of clubs on the turn. Yeah, might take more than one barrel. Look at Plowski staring at his opponent.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to learn much. Between the mouth being covered up and the Elvis glasses, there's not a lot of information coming out of that left ear. More chips, more barrels being fired here by Herm.
He does fire again. 165,000.
Various connections on the board. Even if people just get involved in this as a muckabout battle of the blinds, there's actually quite a lot going on down on the board to get interested in. Nice. Well, if Herm was rather hoping that this had just been a blind still, suddenly got into quite an involved hand here, and a 4th club down, then ace. All of a sudden getting quite serious for $750,000 in the pot.
Is this a 3rd barrel coming, or did he just want to riffle the yellow ones?
I don't know. It is, you know, the unspoken rule, you riffle the big ones, don't you, just to look intimidating. Just suddenly thought, my God, what am I doing riffling the blues? They're hardly worth anything.
So he's definitely counting out a 3rd barrel.
Yeah.
750,000 in the middle. And he checks. Plowski looking back at his hand. He checks behind. Herm will show 8-10. And Jack-10 with the 10 of clubs. A flush for Plowski. He was ahead on every single street.
So by the look of that, it was indeed just a... I'm sure Herm wasn't playing that initially pre-flop for the exact value of the cards there. One of them trying to steal the blinds-ish that kind of just got a bit involved.
What do you think about the check behind there from Plowski? Is it one of those situations where there's no value in betting, that you're only going to get resistance from a bigger club?
I guess so. It's a bit old school, but it's just the old river principle, isn't it? What hand worse than you just think is going to call you there is Jack Queen. You know, like you know, it's not that Jack Queen is worse than, but you know what I mean. Is it?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't play that through in your head as a replay of the hand that you're up against, because. Yeah, I think so. Because also Herm's good enough. The way if he suddenly comes back over the top of you there, is that you're suddenly making a crying call rather than checking, feeling quite good about life. Suddenly Plowski could face a big re-raise and is less happy with the world. Oh, good. Pop me your screen. What's on my pyjamas? It's not something that will come off in a wash.
Oh my God, that makes it sound worse than it actually is.
And as you see, the confirmation, the prize of 1 sachet of brown sugar will go to the winner. Should make it quite clear. You will have to collect it from the tournament area, but I will stop for photographs.
We have an all-in.
It's okay. It didn't last very long.
I should point out, by the way, Diego Gomez is no longer the shortest stack at the final table. Mark Herm, by virtue of losing that pot to Ali Plowski, is now the low man at the table. Plowski's moved above the 5 million chip mark, narrowing the gap between him and Ramsey Jalassi. We can look at all 8 stacks on the screen right now. Herm with 30 bigs has the shortest stack at the moment. I want to say hello to Robert, who says, shall we do fun facts from England today? The answer is no, we won't. We will do facts from the Czech Republic, but we won't do them until later, until we've resolved the mystery of Matt's pyjamas. Martin says, time for some EPT final table action. He's in Sydney. See, we genuinely are an international affair. Ureski says, watching Ben Warrington live in Prague. Go, 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 Ben. Go, 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 go.
Go. Good. Bit of support for Ben there, I think, is the message to take from that.
And then we have Yavi Sanchez, who says, Diego the Lion King Gomez.
Nice.
You wanted nicknames, Matt? We've got them.
Yeah, well, Gomez makes it easy, doesn't he? He turns up dressed as a lion. It's not like you've got to delve into the guy's rich mahogany background. Herm has raised this up. 100,000, but that is now min raised. We're up to 25,000, 50,000 with a 5k ante. Gets the call by Ocean.
10-6-6 flop. Boyasian first to act. Checks to the razor, standard.
Yeah, and as you say, Mark, Herm starts this with just shy of 1.2 million. Going to check it through to the turn. Another diamond and 9. Makes the board a bit more interesting, but who's going to take a stab at this? 265,000 in the pot for the fighting over thereof. Checked again from the Netherlands. And here comes Mr. Herm, the Herminator.
Should be pointed out that the Herminator is a much cooler nickname than Dipthrong.
Yeah, that sounds like something you find in a car. Yeah, I'm afraid it's your Dipthrong. Yeah, it's just gone at the manifold end. Oh, right. How much is that then? 60 quid, fine. Probably just don't even exist, these things mechanics make up. It costs me a fortune.
Is that 60 quid with labour?
No, that's just the parts. That's just the parts.
Oh, plus VAT.
Plus VAT. You go, what do you mean plus VAT? All of a sudden you got an invoice for 120 quid. Anyway, that's a completely different story.
Boyacin has check raised. Boyacin's made it 230,000.
Well, that wasn't the plan. Or was it? See what I did there? Just covered myself. Chips are coming your way.
Herm will call.
This is going to become a pretty key hand for Mr. Herm.
Well, look at the pot size, 725,000. Herm with a little over a pot size bet behind. Boyacian must realise that.
Yeah, hard to imagine the 5 could have made a massive difference. But
is it fair to say, Matt, that if Boyacian bets this river, he's got to be prepared to call a shove?
yes, I would think so.
Wow.
Oh, wow, he's taken the momentum here.
350,000.
Wow. Yeah, that's
more than a third of Mark Herm's chips.
That is a lot of pressure for Mark Herm to deal with that. Frantic chip riffling going on here. Reflecting what's going on in Mark's brain as he runs through everything here. Oh, I thought that was a little stack looked like they were about to get slid forward there, but gone back into the tank.
If he gives this up on the river, he'll have lost 2 big pots in a row.
Yeah, not to mention a sizable percentage of his stack. It's good pressure for Boyacian, considering he was out of position for that hand. He's actually made very good use of that scenario. The check raise and now the lead out.
And
Strong.
Herm does fold. And after that hand, Mark Herm will be left with 845,000. David Boyacian joins Ramsey Jalassi and Ali Plowski in the 5 million club. So 3 pretty big stacks now. A few guys on around 1.5 million, and then we've got Mark Herm at the bottom of the leaderboard with 845,000. Some more of your tweets. Bart says, do we know if there was a prop bet involved with Diego's sartorial decision? A similar tweet from Betty. Watching from Scotland, the guy with the onesie must have lost a bet. Superb. No, he chose to wear that outfit. He clearly enjoys his poker, and he did promise yesterday that if he made the final table, he'd wear pyjamas.
Yep.
Yesterday he had the whole bow tie and funky spectacles going on, so he obviously just likes to entertain the spectators.
Yep, he just suddenly said, if I make the final table, I'll be back tomorrow in my jimmies. Fair dues. I mean, I just thought he was going to turn up in, like, pyjamas and a dressing gown a la Arthur Dent, but no, he's gone the full bonkers.
Talking of pyjamas, by the way, Claw, who's a bit of a Greg Raymer fanboy, predicts that you have a picture of Greg Raymer on your pyjamas, and he says, if not, why not?
It's a very good question. It's a good guess. It is an incorrect guess, but the second point he makes is, I don't know. There's probably the market for that. I'm going to have to look into that when I get home. Very easy to get those kind of transfers made up these days for garments. Or raiments, as I believe they're known.
Let's pick up the action here. Plowski was raised from the cut-off and then raised to 100,000. The Lion has folded from the button.
The Lion. The thing is, if he picks up as a nickname and then goes to other tournaments where he doesn't dress as a lion, makes him sound very impressive, doesn't it? Diego the Lion Gomez. Of course, if he comes dressed as Minnie Mouse or something, it's kind of going to ruin things. It's working its way around the table. Just Plowski and Boyacian has decided that after the success of the last hand, he's going to take another one here. Out of position, but that didn't seem to bother him before.
He checks to Plowski.
Yeah, pretty fast check round. It's also good because it makes you seem very scary when you've done this check raise lead line on the previous hand. Now when you check, you'd like to think you might have a bit more an intimidation factor when people come back at you.
Plowski's c-bet is 90,000. And there's the call from Boyasian. Another ace on the turn. Boyasian checks a second time, and this is where, in the hand against Herm, he elected to check raise. Plowski decides to check behind. Jack of hearts for free on the river. Is this going to get checked down?
Another quick check from Boyasian. I mean, this really just boils down to, does Plowski have to have anything to have made the move he did pre-flop, which we know he doesn't necessarily, but that's not to say that he can't have some part of this. Just depends how much he's prepared to push out there to take a pop at it. If you can work out whether Boyasian is going to have something that can call. Just for showdown value. 470,000 in the pot. 220. Gonna have to take a drink before making this decision.
I love the fact that everyone who's just joined us is tweeting, this guy must have lost a bet. You think you know poker players, but no, this is voluntary attire from Diego Gomez. As David Boyasian folds, and another pot gets shipped to Ali Plowski. Will that give him the tournament chip lead? Not quite. 5.3 million. Ramsey Jalassi still the man in front with 5.6 million. Boyasian now drops down to 4.8 million. They are the three biggest stacks. Mark Herm is playing 17 big blinds. He's not had a great start to this final table. We've only seen 7 hands so far. Remember, if you have any observations about what you're seeing, any predictions of the way this is going to play out, get in touch with us on Twitter. Matthias has tweeted. He says, what kind of awesome typical Czech food have you guys been eating this week?
Well, steak. Not that Czech, really, was it?
Yeah, but it was at a restaurant called the Czech House.
That's true, so that was quite Czechish.
Which, as I tweeted at the time, has a mineral water menu.
Yeah, that was tremendous. It had a tremendous spread of desserts and beverages. And then last night, pork, Czech pork, or chalk, as I believe it's known. I could have made that up. So no, not really sampled much Czechness. There's some nice restaurants, but the problem is there's just other things you want to eat. Last night we did ask, or in fact, what's the Czech dish here? The waitress went, well, goulash, but I wouldn't have that. Wouldn't have that if I were you. Really? It's very honest of you. Yeah, I just wouldn't have that. I'd have something else completely. Okay.
That last hand was raise and take it for Mark Herm, by the way. Brendan says, I'm watching in New Jersey, sweating the Herminator. And we've got Dina from Sydney on Twitter as well. I love you guys. I'm drinking wine and enjoying the game. I'm sending you a lot of kisses.
Well, that's very pleasant. That's very welcoming.
Thank you. I'm assuming it's kind of late in Sydney and it's acceptable to drink wine because there are rules about when you can start consuming alcohol.
It's 6 p.m. somewhere in the world at all points. Plowski is going to be the man that takes the min raise here. Gets all the way around the table. Looks like Mr. Warrington is going to get involved. Not had much chance so far. Kuzminski and Warrington not had much part of this action, and that is going to do the job.
Another raise and take it hand. And Plowski closing in on the chip leader. 5.4 against 5.5. I mean, one of the things that does create a slightly awkward dynamic, Matt, is when Mark Herm gets short like that. If he drops below the 20 big blind mark, there is an expectation from the players at the table he will be the first to bust. And therefore, all those guys sitting on between 1.7 and 2.5 million think, okay, well, let's just wait for him to go out so that I can ladder up from 75k to 108k.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of standard, but it's, you know, these jumps are always meaningful once you're onto the final table. Prior to that, there's not always a massive advantage to be said in just holding tight and laddering up, because you want to get to this final table. But I mean, the thing is with these guys, they're all good enough that they're not going to pass up an opportunity. If they see a good spot, they're not going to be too worried about this. Yeah, but if I just fold and wait, I can ladder up. But as you say, once someone gets particularly short stacked, dynamic does change.
Jelassi button raising here. Warrington has folded the small blind. Decision appears to be on Kutapas in the big blind.
Yeah, not really got involved in any of our hands yet today, but it is very early. Now might be the time to just kick back and just wait while we take you to a part of the show we call Waiting for Katupas. He's dishing these out. He's getting ready to do something. They are. Nice measured stack.
355,000. That is a... Oh, 255.
I was going to
say
that
355 would be...
bit chunky. Bit overly chunky, but no. 255. Nice defence. I think I'll just have another little look, says Jealousy. He's got the button, though.
Yeah, he can play the flop in position, and that's what he elects to do by calling.
Literally one chip at a time. Yeah, so Katupas is going to find himself first to act here on a 6-8-4 rainbow board.
Will he continue? And if he does, when will that be?
Problem is this sort of a board almost suits Jelassi more, because he could be raising with any old junk just on the button, and you might think, well, Katupas might have actually a hand he'd want to defend with, rather than just not wanting to be bullied about. He's cutting out chips. He's almost a bit too fast. Solid continuation.
225, so slightly less than his pre-flop 3-bet, and a very quick call from Ramsey Jelassi. No hanging about from him.
It's all about the meta game, yeah.
Well, it's getting straighty, this board now. 5 of clubs on the turn. Katupas now slows down. He checks. Is this an opportunity for Jelassi to take the betting lead?
Yep, the door has been opened by Katupas' check, and zoom straight through it, head first.
Looks like 400,000.
Yeah. Oh, Katupas. I thought he was about to make the fastest call ever, but
Well, Sammy the Freezing Finn just got in touch on Twitter to say, morning guys, was on the phone for about half an hour. Any big pots at the game? I mean, obviously you haven't missed too much action, Sammy. Yes, we have seen some big pots. This is probably the biggest so far. Most of the big pots have been won by Ale Plowski and been lost by Mark Herm. Mark Herm is currently the short stack, playing a sub-20 big blind stack. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Our chip leader Ramsey Jalassi putting the pressure on Sotirios Koutupas.
$1.4 million in the pot here. We've still got a streak of action to go if Koutupas decides to carry on with this.
Shall we take a break, Matt, while he's thinking?
Yeah, let's just chill. He's folded.
He's folded.
Well, they are. That was Koutupas just taking him. So a massive boost. The rich get richer over the 6 million mark now. You can see what that's done for him. He's only got 122 blinds to play with. He's in trouble now. But that's nice. Clicking over the 6 million takes him ahead now. Massively ahead of the majority of the field.
Some more of your comments on Twitter. Gutschel says, Mark Herm's body language seems awful to me. I can't say I've noticed any difference in Mark Herm's body language from when he's got it and when he hasn't got it.
No, do you know what? And the irony is, during that hand, while we were waiting for Koutupas to do anything, I was watching, and actually when we'd been seeing him before and he was riffling very, very quickly, and I was wondering if his head's going zoom, 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 zoom. Actually, even when he was out of a hand, he's still moving very rapidly. You know, Koutupas is cutting his chips very slowly and riffling at a slow. But I think he's just a bit hyper. Had somebody called Kara Scott on. I don't know if you heard her. Says that that looks incredibly cozy. The lion suit. It's pretty much the perfect poker outfit. Do you know what? I think she should give that a go. It certainly does look warm. I'm wondering how many levels it'll be before he goes, do you know what? This was a really poor idea. Don't forget, we are playing What's in My Pyjamas. We've got a sachet of brown sugar on offer. We've had a few guesses. It wasn't Great Raymer, wasn't Mickey Mouse or dinosaurs or fruit. They are confirmation, not Mickey Mouse or fruit. And that sachet of brown sugar is here. We're going to go to one lucky viewer today. Hashtag EPT Live. What do you think of the lion? What do you think of anything?
Well, not just competition entries on Twitter. We've got Darren saying that I'd like to see either Ben Warrington or Ramsey Jalassi take down EPT Prague today. Who are you supporting? Who do you predict will win? What do you think will happen? Will Diego Gomez continue wearing that lion costume for the whole day? Can you imagine if he became an EPT champion and the official winner's photograph with him lifting the trophy and collecting the €835,000 first prize had him wearing a lion pyjama one-piece?
I'm happy with that, to be honest. I think that's what poker needs right now, is a man in a lion suit. Kuzminski, first real bit of action from him. Round in your seat too. One of the smaller stacks here. Taking the opportunity to move in, but it looks like our chum Koutupas is about to defend from the button.
Yeah, and this will not be a call. This will be a 3-bet.
Herminator just sucking in as much oxygen as possible. Let's come back round to Kuzminski.
Yeah, Kuzminski first got into poker about 4 years ago when he saw Poker After Dark on TV. And he won his seat here to Prague in a special social networks free roll that was available to Russian players. And this is his first live tournament. Always nice to actually make the final table when you play your first live tournament. And not just like a £5 rebuy, but a €5,000 buy in EPT main event.
Works for me. Always hard to tell when everyone's at it, as they say, whether this is Kuzminski really trying to make a decision or just trying to wait long enough that it looks like when he makes these pre-flop moves there's ever any genuine cards involved. But 3-bet's going to work for Katufas. Nice for him to get something back after losing the wad to Jalassi in the last hand.
So after 12 hands of our final table, Ramsey Jalassi has increased his chip lead to 6.2 million. Ali Plowski still second on the leaderboard. Mark Herm has become the short stack with 855,000. And a reminder of the chip denominations. Only 2 colours in play at the moment, the blue 5,000s and the yellow 25,000s. And a lot of love on Twitter for the Muzak.
Well, you know, if we're going to have time to kill like that, we may as well make the best of it. Oh. Well, there's no position like the first position. Under the gun. Boyasin is going to make the min raise. You'd like to think perhaps he has some cards that he's interested in, but who knows? Everyone's a bit quiet right now. It's there for the taking. Kuzminski with a flat call. And also Gomez. Gonna take a look at this. This is crazy times. Look at that. 3 people in the same pot. I didn't know that they were allowed to do that.
Ace-6-6 with 2 spades. The lion checks.
How ridiculous. Cats and poker. They love it. Well, Boyasin was the first one to get his bet out pre-flop. He's going to be the first to get chips into the pot this time round. He was very early. Maybe you credit him with a bigger hand. Maybe you don't do that at all.
I'm more worried about Kuzminski, to be honest. To just flat the under-the-gun razor from under the gun +1.
Yeah, with a lot of players still to go behind you.
Absolutely.
You kind of, it is one of those alarm bell moments, isn't it?
Gomez folds. Heads up to the turn. Which brings a 3rd spade on board.
Yeah, it's a genius line. If Kuzminski's got absolutely nothing, it's a brilliant line to take because you just go, ah!
Boyasin now checking. Kuzminski will leap in. 605,000 in the middle. And he bets 270k. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Matt, and say this is not a bluff, and I think Boyasin has reached the same conclusion as he quickly folds.
Yeah, well, I mean, it did reek of power. That's what I was saying. If it was born of absolutely nothing, it's a fantastic line to take. But yeah, I don't think that was a huge play. I think that was just a much better hand.
Kuzminski gets his stack up to nearly 2 million. And we've got someone out there doing some scientific research for us. FlowKid1 on Twitter says, I've just tried wearing a panda bear pyjama suit playing on stars at the moment, and it makes me feel quite insecure. It therefore cannot be plus EV to wear a lion PJ.
Yeah, but the panda is it's very much down the food chain, isn't it? That's the thing, is the panda, to take on the vibe of the panda is very much about sitting around waiting to die, which is not the way you want to approach a game of poker. A lion is, oh yeah, I'm just going to sit here watching you, and as soon as I sense a slightly injured or isolated elk or deer, bang, taking you down at the legs, on the floor, innards out. So I think that maybe to take on the characteristics of the onesie animal, I think you've got to think about your animal. I mean, wouldn't it be great if someone else had turned up here as a zebra? I mean, maybe not great, maybe great's the wrong word, but wouldn't it be interesting? Yeah, psychologically speaking.
Just very quickly, Houston predicts that you have teacups on your pyjamas.
No, but I'd like teacups. I'd like teacups on a dressing gown like Brad Pitt has in Fight Club.
And he observes that the lion suit doesn't have proper fur on the back. Hashtag shaved lion.
Well, I don't know if that's a hashtag that's going to kick off, but good luck with shaved lion. Don't know how many people are currently online discussing shaved lions.
So Katupas raises from mid-position, makes it 105,000.
Yep, that 5,000 very important in Katupas's mind.
And Boycian once again defends his big blind. He's checked that flop. Ace, Jack, 10, all clubs. And here comes the continuation bet from Katupas. Boycian folds. Not quite sure what to make of this question on Twitter, Matt. Manila asks, is EPT Live actually live?
No, it isn't. We just guess your questions and pre-record every single possible answer, and there's a chap that presses the button that makes the right answer come out.
I tell you what, how awesome are we at guessing exactly what people are going to do at the poker table as well?
Well, it takes months and months and months of just voiceovering every single interaction. The funny thing is, myself and James have never even met. We actually go in separately to do these, don't we, James?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, James. So we go in separately and record all these voiceovers. Oh, he's all in, he's called, he's folded. Oh, sorry about that, I landed on the wrong button. And that's how we do these over and over for a very minimal budget. So don't forget, what's in my pyjamas? I must say, if there was a bit of movie memorabilia that I could have, I would like Brad Pitt's dressing gown with teacups on it from Fight Club. Not an item you would think a man could look cool in, but kind of works.
Mark Herm, short stack at the table, will raise. 100,000. Ali Plowski took a huge chunk of Herm's stack earlier on. He is interested. And this will not be a call. This will be a 3-bet. And this puts Herm in a horrible position because he can't call. He can only fold or move all in. 225,000. And that's the great thing. He can make this 3-bet so small, Matt, because he gets the same result every time.
Yeah.
Herm has no options other than to either go with it, in which case Plowski's already made his decision whether he's going to call or fold. Or Herm will just fold and Plowski will pick up 100,000.
Yeah, there's zero room for manoeuvre, is there? It's all or nothing.
It's a leveraging 3-bet. There you go. I finally found the right words.
Sweet. And have you just made that up, or is that what like people say all the time?
Apparently that's what people say. That's what the kids say anyway.
Oh, the kids. How do they come up with these things? It's like finding new ways of saying exactly the same thing over and over. Remind me during the break not to use the sachet of sugar if I have a coffee, because that'd be pretty catastrophic.
That'd be scandalous. Then we get investigated for running one of those sham competitions.
Exactly.
There was no prize.
Yeah, and we've got to set up a premium number for the next one as well, so people can text in, and it costs them about £8 each. Then I can pay for that new diphthong on my Focus. Uh-oh, the rocking backward and forwards has started. Not a comfortable looking poker player on your screen right now. Oh, the rocking is starting, feeling a bit queasy now. Oh dear.
I love the way there's some kind of like sympathy rocking from Katupas as
Yes,
well.
it's very infectious. I just wonder if you could do that. Idiomotor movement.
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm slightly confused why Mark Herm is taking this long. You know you start in the hand with like 17 big blinds. So when you raise, you must realise there is a chance I get 3-bet, and if that happens, what am I going to do with this hand? Am I going to go all the way with it, or am I going to fold?
And when Plowski 3-bets, and what, you're going to put him on a range of hands that he's doing that with? I don't know. I'm just not very good at poker, so I don't know. Apparently Mark Herm's really good at poker. And he is here ultimately on the final table. I know that's a final table with a man dressed as a lion, so I don't know if that ruins the credibility of getting here. I don't know. I'm the same as you. I think as soon as you get involved in this hand, you must know where it can go, and you must have a plan in mind.
And the plan is that Mark Herm will fold and drop down to 740,000.
I don't know. The thing is also, when you look at the profile of Mark Herm, you know he's not interested in laddering up.
No.
So it's not like that dwell was, yeah, well, maybe if someone else goes out before me, I get an extra couple of 100,000, whatever it is. It's actually, now I think about it, it's quite a lot of money. Yeah, he's not going to be interested in that, so he must just genuinely be going, is this a good spot or not? But if not, why get involved in the hand?
He's entering a stage now where there's a school of thought that he should no longer be raised folding, that really he's getting almost to open shove territory.
Yeah.
Not that there are any hard, fast rules, each to his own.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those where some people don't want to call. They don't want to call into that situation. They quite happen to drive themselves into that situation, but they don't want to just go, oh, okay, I call and I've turned over my 7-4. Rule Britannia, Ben Warrington in the house. Raised it up.
Several folds. Action on David Boycian on the button. Boycian does like to play flops.
Yeah,
he's in and out of position.
Yeah, he has certainly been the most active thus far as that, defending on the pre-flop scene, which I believe is what the kids call it. Could have made that up.
Not this time. He's folded, as does Kuzminski. It's just Ramsey Jalassi in the big blind for Warrington to get through. You're right there.
Yeah, do you know what it is? The night before we came out here, I was Santa, which involved being on the back of a sled in really cold weather for 2 hours shouting Merry Christmas, and it really ruined my throat. It was a really bad idea, considering what I was about to spend the next 48 hours doing. I really should have thought about that.
So 3-bet from Jalassi, 285,000 total.
But the kids loved it. It was worth it, even if I've ultimately ruined my throat for the rest of the year. 285, and it's out of position. Strength or timing or just a really good player. Oh, Lion's back and he's got his head back on.
That overhead shot does give us the best, most awesome and arguably most amusing view of the Lion.
Yeah, I'm gonna nip out at some point, try and catch a full frontal wall of chips and full Lion behind.
Well, this hand has turned into a full-scale pre-flop raising war because Warrington has just responded with a 4-bet.
Well, also, Warrington's hardly really been involved, so actually you kind of go, well, he's been patient. Clearly he's decided he wasn't going to get involved in the pre-flop war without some kind of hand, and now he's got position and a bit of momentum and strength.
An additional 265,000. Obviously, if Jalassi were to call, he'd be out of position. Calling 4-bets out of position, not necessarily recommended.
I don't know, I'm asking you.
All right, calm down.
Whoa, yeah, getting a bit of heat down there, wasn't it? Let's just all calm down. It's just poker, yeah? It's just a game of cards.
Ever since the lack of fur on the back of that lion costume was pointed out, it's now become a major distraction to me.
Really?
Just staring at the shaved lion back.
Do you think Katupas is sitting there going, oh, come on, guys, make a decision? Well, I think this is about to get beyond juicy. I think this is going to get crazy juicy.
There is the 5-bet from Jalassi.
Oh, I miss when we used to just call it the re-raise. Those are golden days.
Yeah, and you ended up sounding like Max Headroom, and that's why someone decided to create a new language.
Yeah, it probably works better.
815,000 total. So it's a click back, it's a minimum raise.
His pot has suddenly become more than the lion actually has. You must be just sitting there salivating, especially if a zebra goes past. Ben's going, oh, blimey! I think I was happier when I was just folding, and now things are getting quite complicated.
Ben started the hand with 2.3 million, and his options are becoming rather limited.
Yeah. You know, when this hand started and they got into a little bit of a pre-flop war, didn't expect it to get this far down the line. Quite surreal, quite a serious hand of poker going on. Then just in the foreground, a lion just turns around and as a stretch. You go, was that a lion? You're tuning in now. That wasn't a lion, and you are hallucinating. Why would there be a lion on the final table? Don't be stupid. Well, the dinner break's coming up. It isn't really, I'm just joking.
Oh, this looks like a fold.
Oh, look at the lips.
Or does it?
The lips have gone. Those are the lips of a folding man. I know that there's not a lot of work being done on lips in poker. It's my next book.
5K6 and the tournament. So we start in seat number 5.
Oh, pain.
Once again, we have 8 levels of late range for this tournament, which is going to be approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes. We have 50,000 study stock, 15 minutes level. We're going to start with a small line of 100, big line 200, and until 25.
So the great thing is, this tournament being advertised in the background, in Ben Warrington's head he can think, okay, if I go all in here and lose, I can still get into that tournament.
See, other players thinking, I could probably enter that tournament and finish it before this hand comes to a conclusion. Don't forget, at new rules, at 6 o'clock they stop the game and count the chips, and whoever has the most wins, I believe, is a new rule this year. So there's a good reason to just let the next 4 hours roll round, hoping no one calls the clock. Has anybody called the clock on a final table?
Oh yeah, many a time.
Thought so, just testing. I don't get out much, to be honest. Normally on the back of a van, going ho ho ho.
I mean, we saw some big thinks yesterday and no one called the clock. It'll be interesting to see whether that continues. Yeah,
this is kind of long. There's a lot of chips out there, isn't there?
I mean, realistically, this is a decision for Warrington's tournament life. He knows he can't call here. He's either got a shove or fold.
Yeah.
Although, again, I do raise the question, and I'm happy to concede that these are greater poker minds than I will ever be, but when Warrington 4-bet did you not think there was the possibility that Ramsey Jalassi might 5-bet? And if so, did he not think about how he might respond to that?
Well, that's what all great poker players apparently do. But then again, that's a lot of thinking, isn't it? You know, like playing chess. And I already know every single move for the rest of this game. Should we not bother then? Yeah, pub. Same thing here, I think.
Well, I thought Warrington was going to fold a few minutes ago, and again he gives us the old look-back fake.
Yeah, but don't forget he's got a folder's lips. Now that I've opened, I don't know if you've really taken into account exactly how much you can learn from the lips of a player. This is clearly ripping him apart. And is a proper pro, so this isn't going to just be for the cameras. This isn't going to be no part of this pause, I believe, is for dramatic effect. Oh, poor lad.
It would be irony of ironies if Katupa's called the clock now.
Well, this has gone for a while. Size out of chips, have a little squeeze. I've run out of wondering what he can be thinking about here now.
That's Ramsey Jalassi firing a warning shot, saying you have to make a decision. Jalassi threatening to call the clock.
Yeah, this is... Look, even Katupas has had enough. I can't believe it. Yeah, and Jalassi saying you're going to have to make a decision doesn't really... Not gonna probably get much information out of that either, are you?
Jalassi looks like he's thinking about something completely different.
Yeah. Which is not the worst thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty lenient that no one has gone for a clock now. Oh, look at the lips, they're curling. Curling in disgust at the way life has gone. Itchy lips, that's another one. That's chapter 3. Wouldn't it be brilliant if we went, sorry, is it on me? Oh, hilarious times.
A fair question from Lewis on Twitter, which is, what range of hands is he doing this with? Tens? Jacks? Ace Queen?
Yeah. Yeah, there can't really be much, can there?
Should point out, by the way, that in the wake of the hand where Mark Herm tanked for some time before folding, and in the wake of this hand, a lot of people are saying, OMG, Daniel Negreanu is so right, we need to have a shot clock. And it looks like Warrington has finally laid it down, and Ramsey Jalassi will win that pot.
With his kings, show one. It's a nice idea, but it's never going to happen.
Jalassi now with 6.8 million, Ben Warrington down to 1.7 million.
Yeah, drops down into 6th place. You can see on the chips after that. A lot in that pot, and nearly up to 7k now. For Jalassi, just screaming through this final table.
Oh, see, Matt, this is what happens.
What's happened now?
Well, Alexander says, is the rule you mentioned really in effect, that at 6 p.m. they will just do a chip count and decide a winner?
No. No, that was a fictional rule I made up. I do apologise. Mostly disregard what I say.
Yes, bear in mind there's very little sincerity on EPT Live, and most of what is said with heavy sarcasm. Obviously, Ledrius gets your sense of humour. He says, the second commentator, I think that's you, is great. Sounds like Nick Welfall's brother. Almost the same voice, and definitely the same good English humour.
No, I'm Barry Martin. Welcome to my world.
So we play on, still 8-handed. This is only the 17th hand of the final table.
Although we could have squeezed in about 30 if they just hurry up.
That was raise and take it for David Boyasian.
Just time to remind you, one of the more exciting promotions going on during EPT Prague is What's on My Pyjamas. Not teacups or dinosaurs or fruit, and a sachet of brown sugar that I have in front of me here.
Go on, tease them with it one more time, Matt.
I like it so far, just say.
Oh,
I like it so far.
There we go.
That's the brown sugar. That's there. Sorry, I couldn't make it create a sound. It's because it's so full of sugar. It really is a full sachet. You will have to collect it from the foyer, but I will stop for photographs and handshakes. What's on my pyjamas? I've got a photo all ready to roll. For proof's sake.
I wasn't complaining. It's the same dealer who kill everyone. As soon as he came to the table, someone gets knocked out.
Terminator is about to fold that one.
Plowski also out. The Lion folds. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing to come as a final table dressed as a lion and then not play a hand.
Yeah, bit of an anticlimax there, isn't it, really? What do we think Ben had there then, Queens? Yeah, that's what I think.
You think he folds a hand as strong as Queens there?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he takes that long with tens or jacks. I'm going to go exactly for Queens. For the sake of being ridiculous, I think they were both red. Yeah. I'm sticking with that story.
Kuzminski's raise, called by Katupas in the big blind. An ace-ace-9 flop with two clubs. Come on, let's have a turbo round, guys. Katupas checks. Kuzminski, come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sigh.
Let me grab the dealers now. It's okay, guys. Next round is a turbo round.
There is the continuation bet, 135,000. FlowKid1 predicts that you have a picture of Joe Stapleton on your pyjamas.
No, I am more likely to have Greg Raymer than Joe Stapleton, to be honest.
Although,
yeah,
has Joe Stapleton ever dressed up as someone who may be on your pyjamas?
Well, I don't know, but the way you say that makes me think that you know the answer to that question.
Well, I can't. You showed me a brief photograph, and I'm trying to remember exactly.
Do you need a refresher?
I do need a refresher. Might be a clue that gives the game away. Yes, I can confirm that Joe Stapleton has famously dressed up as someone who is on Matt Broughton's pyjamas.
You've told them it's a person now, haven't you? Before we were getting dinosaurs and teacups, you've just cut right through. I mean, this is a brown sugar sachet, yeah? Just belittle it by just giving away clues.
I'm going to bring out the lift music again in a minute. Come on, Katupas.
Hang on a minute. Ben just took 25 minutes to fold his queens. And now you're giving Katupas a hard time? That was 35 seconds at most.
Yeah, I'm nothing if not inconsistent.
Harsh taskmaster.
Well, let's introduce our first guest of the day. We advertised earlier on that many members of Team PokerStars Pro would be joining us. For the time being, we've got Rick Dacey, a staff writer at the PokerStars blog, to keep us company. Rick, is this your EPT Live debut?
Indeed it is. I'm a low-rent replacement for Team Pro, I think.
Yeah, the way he introduced you there was like, until we get someone that we actually want to talk to, we've got Rick Dacey.
Well, I'm happy to fill that breach for the moment.
Well, it gets you off the floor. At least you get to sit down. Oh, mind you, actually, all you do is sit down, isn't it, mostly?
Pretty much, but it's dodging things in a slightly different way. So, but the action's been great here at EPT Prague.
And I have to say, the presence of a lion at the final table does give you guys a gift.
In some ways, yes, but then you also have to be somewhat diplomatic about these things. So, for instance, couldn't talk about the whole Wizard of Oz matter of, you know, has he actually got a heart, because you've actually mentioned that he hasn't played a hand at the final table.
No, courage very much missing so far.
Is it a lion? I thought you were a bunny.
Yeah.
Oh, smackdown.
Smackdown. Animal table talk. You think that's a lion? Puh. Yeah. Then again, they have had a lot of time to kill during the last couple of hands, so. So, any fancies from this final table? I mean, they're all pretty decent, but anyone that you've had your eye on from early doors?
I mean, Jalassi, basically, the second that he got past 19th, which has always been his stumbling block, he's finished 19th in 3 separate EPTs.
That's
then,
so weird.
Yeah, well, and a 20th as well, just to mix it up. But as soon as he got past that point, you've really got to fancy that he gets to the final 3 at least. And his chip stack, he's got a relatively decent position, probably on a couple of the weaker players, or certainly the less experienced players. So I think Jalassi's a very, very good shout.
Just as we see how Jalassi responds to Boycian's Open. Some more guesses coming in on Twitter, Matt.
Yep.
Elvis.
No.
Wolfman.
No.
Batman.
By the way, just to say, when they're saying Wolfman, it's because they think that Joe's dressed up as Wolfman. He's actually that hairy. that wasn't Joe dressed up as Wolfman. He just actually has a lot of hair. No.
No Batman.
No. No. Sorry. Thanks for playing. I don't know how you get so many more tweets than me. I'm not seeing any of these, but I'm happy to let you drive the Twitter entries. Don't forget what is on my pajamas. Brown sugar up for grabs. Meanwhile,
Jalassi has 3-bet. Made it 290,000 total. And Boycian has called that 3-bet. Out of position.
Yeah. Just shy of 900,000 in the pot. Boycian's going to be first to act. Second spade, the ace comes down, checks it round. Check, check. Well, that is surely going to draw out some action. If you like the flop, you've got to like the 5 on the end, surely.
Well, yeah, complete the flush, complete the straight. Eight, 9 of hearts. That'd be fun.
That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it? Good
Wouldn't it
shout.
just?
Good shout.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, 8, 9 of hearts would be fun for someone, not so much for the other guy.
Oh, the other guy just folds, doesn't he? It's easy. Somebody's going to have to try and win this one.
Not if he's got 3, 4 of hearts.
Just being hopeful now.
Boycian, having called Jalassi's raise on the flop, now bets the river.
That is not the face stroke of a man looking to raise, is it?
Look at his lips. That's not a winner's lips.
Ramsey Jalassi announces call. No one wants to show their cards. Someone must have a hand.
Boycian, oh, we don't get to see anything. What's happening? What happened? Did he say call or did he?
Did he say all in, maybe?
I think maybe he said all
I
in.
thought I heard the word call. Maybe Jalassi shoved the river.
I got a feeling he may well have done.
That would have been a large shove, though.
Yeah, but that's all I can think I heard at the floor.
unless it was one of those situations, and we do get this on the EPT, Rick, and it is a little bit weird. Gilassi calls, and then immediately Boyasian mucks, and Gilassi's then able to claim the pot without actually showing his cards.
Yeah.
Okay, right, okay.
Yes, that's absolutely right. That's exactly right. And he called and just Boyasian went, well done.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. I know some people think it's a little bit controversial, and some would say wrong, that a player should be able to claim the pot without showing their cards, but that's just the way it is.
Well, more so, I hate it when I've decided I might have gone through a grueling decision and thought, no, I'm going to call. Let's see what you've got. Then is you've paid there.
Well,
you
do
put
have the
your
right.
money in jeopardy to see that guy's hands.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but I understand that if Gilassi was going to be a stickler, he could ask to see Boyasian's hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And rightfully so, but there's largely a complicit agreement between players that if someone decides to open muck when called, then that usually stands. People only tend to get called out if people think someone's acting somewhat suspiciously, but in most occurrences, the muck is fine.
Anyway, the net result of that hand is that Gilassi extends his chip lead. He's now up to 7.62 million.
No wonder you picked him as a winner. That's just so easy.
Rick, in all your coverings of EPTs and chats to players, the whole shot clock issue is obviously a hot potato at the moment, and this final table has just brought the debate back again. And we've had two hands where players have gone into the tank for what seems like an eternity. I mean, is it something that you have any sympathy with?
To a degree, but at the same time, I think it's generally a lot easier for self-regulation. Other players at the table can call clock and should do it frequently. Otherwise, how are you going to do it? The dealer's given a 20-second clock, a 2-minute clock, then there's going to be more dealer error. That's going to lead to far more annoyance than sort of the occasional tanking. So I think it's best leave the dealers to, deal, make sure that people are putting in the correct amount of chips, making sure that everything at the game's being run with as much integrity as possible, and allow the players to regulate if they think players taking advantage.
Do you think that they need to make, not that there's a stigma on calling the clock, but do you think the players need to be encouraged? Like, guys, do feel free, don't feel bad, because even in that hand is Gilassi said to Ben, I don't want to call the clock on you, but you've got to make a decision. And do you think there's a bit too much of a stigma about calling the clock on players?
Yeah, I agree. Generally, if a player's spending a long time in a big pot, well, that's fine, because you're allowed to have a big decision and it shouldn't automatically decide. But it's when there's smaller decisions, pre-flop decisions, then that's where there's an issue. But I think the giving respect to other players is overstretched at times, and once someone's done it more than once, then you should possibly after that hand just sort of warn them, go, hey buddy, I'll call the clock next time if you spend a long time, but you're allowed to spend occasionally time thinking about these things, but just don't do it every hand.
Let's just pick up the action here, because pre-flop Katupas raised his button and Plowski 3-bet very small from the big blind. Katupas called, Plowski continued the flop and Katupas called. It went check on the turn. And now on the river, decision is on Katupas. Well, it's been checked down. Kings is the hand for Plowski. Ace-Jack, the hand for Katupas, and he got there on the river. Why did Plowski not bet the turn?
Don't know.
I understand the check on the river. He's a little bit worried about the ace. Maybe he's into check call mode. I'm confused about why Plowski didn't bet the turn. I'm also slightly confused about why Katupas didn't bet the river.
I mean, on the turn, perhaps he's going for some kind of check raise on that.
Yeah,
that board. Yeah. To set up, also because then he can shove the river, maybe. But yeah, I'm not too sure about the check back on the river. Surely you can get some thin value there with Ace Jack.
Yeah, because you think if you've travelled that far down the line with your ace, when it's come in, you kind of, to just check and take the pot is a bit
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we often forget about and underestimate the effects of the pressure for some of these players at a final table. There's a huge amount of money to play for, and do you really, against someone who you know is a very good player, do you really want to set yourself up into a position where you're possibly going to face a check-raise bluff?
Yeah.
So just check it behind, guarantee yourself a smaller pot, but hopefully a few people bust out and you get another 50,000, another 100,000. It's completely understandable.
There's 3 hearts out there, I guess, as well. So, like you say, if there's a good player that wants to check raise you, all of a sudden you go from. We had a previous home. I said, you check quite confidently, thinking, lovely, I'll have that pot, to suddenly having to make a crying call and ripping yourself apart.
Sure, because some of these players are going to abuse the fact that you've got Mark Herm on about 12 or 13 big blinds. And so other players are going to get exploited because of the fear of busting out before him. I mean, Herm must be absolutely gutted. He's a decent player, and this has not gone as intended.
By the way, we need to resolve the competition. A lot of people, more than I can mention, are suggesting that Wolverine might be on your pyjamas, Matt.
Do you know what? I can say that is nearly... That is actually... It's a correct, but not a complete answer. Wolverine is on my pyjamas, but he's not alone.
Well, would X-Men be a more complete answer? Because that's also being put forward by many members of the Twitterverse.
No.
So we're getting there, but still no winner of our competition. What is on Matt's pyjamas? And we will only take the 100% accurate response. The last hand was raise and take it for Ramsey Jalassi. This one sees Ramsey's pre-flop raise called in 2 spots. Plowski on the button, Boyasian in the big blind, an ace 8-7 flop with 2 spades. Check to Jalassi, who's sandwiched between these 2 guys. He continues. 200,000. Plowski folds the button, and Boyasian folds as well. And Jalassi continues to amass chips, closing in on the 8 million chip mark. 7.98 million now. Rick, I want to ask about your work with the PokerStars blog, because obviously we were talking to Mark Convey from the kind of live reporting team yesterday, and obviously there's now a collaboration between the PokerStars blog and Poker News, and it's the Poker News guys who are doing the live reporting, but people like yourself, Stephen Bartley and Howard Swain, are doing, for want of a better phrase, colour pieces?
I think you could accurately describe it as such. Yeah, so it's sort of interviews, it's looking at things more in depth, looking at things occurring away from the table as well. So, for instance, Howard found out yesterday about a game of Chinese poker that got a little bit lively after a couple of drinks between some of the Irish guys, including John O'Shea and Jude Ainsworth, and it basically ended up with Jude Ainsworth and John O'Shea are now going to have a fight for money.
Sweet.
Which John O'Shea seems to be about 20 kilos heavier than Jude, so I think that's possibly boozy confidence speaking there, but this seems to be going ahead at some point. So Howard will be writing that later, so keep your eyes on PokerStarsBlog.com.
Nice. Is the New Avengers the answer, Matt?
No.
Close, but no sugar packets.
Again, really close, really close.
That last hand was raised and taken for Ali Plowski by the looks of things. Still second in chips with just shy of 5.2 million. Got about 19 minutes left on this level.
Do you know, I might have to give it to the New Avengers person.
Really?
It's really close. It's really close.
But it's not, strictly speaking, accurate. There is a sachet of brown sugar.
There is. You're right. No, you're right to remind me. You're right. There is a lot. There is a lot.
If there was no prize, then
it wouldn't matter. But there is a brown. It is a
well,
sachet of brown
I
sugar.
think you can look at compromise here because it is incredibly close.
It
so
is.
perhaps give them a sachet of sort of sweetener for the New Avenger winner. Because I think that's close enough. So they're close. It's not quite sugar. Seems fair.
What's really disturbing here is that both Rick and I have seen a picture of Matt's pyjamas.
Yeah, but I at least took the decent. I did, the decent thing. I didn't wear them when I took the picture. I did. I was standing naked from the waist down
I'm
when
just
I
gonna-
took the picture.
I'm-
No.
I'm just going to throw one more clue out there, and that's if you were watching the live stream from Copenhagen and took part in that competition, the answer is very similar, i.e. it's the same. Gomez, the Lion, he doesn't sleep tonight. He raises to 105,000.
Boom.
And he's called by Boyacin, who, as we know, is very polite with waiting staff.
It's very nice to see him.
Yeah, we should give him the shout out for that. This morning over breakfast, we saw Boyacin, and rather than click his fingers or wave rudely at a waitress, got up from his table, went and had a word, thanked her for the coffee.
Exactly.
Very nice. Well done.
Unlike Hartigan, who just threw sausages at anyone who looked like they might work there and go, "Oi, you, coffee now." He is a monster before he's got a bit of the old caffeine going through his veins. Very aggressive.
Is this going to be a 3-bet coming out of the big blind? It's looking like it. I mean, Jalassi's got almost 8 million now. He's really going to start putting the pressure on the other players, especially Gomez, because, you know, first big final table. He's going to have to fold such a large part of his range, surely.
And as you said, Rick, we've got this situation where Herm is sitting on like 12 big blinds, and no one else really wants to play a massive pot against the chip leader. Well, Jalassi decided just to call, so 3 players see that flop of Jack 8-3.
I mean, you can obviously rule out any huge premium hand from Jalassi, or in fact Boyacin, because both of them would have 3-bet, considering the other one was involved in the hand.
Yeah. Let's go on, check. Round to the turn, the 4 of clubs.
I think we might have a winner, by the way. Mark Purvis has literally just tweeted to say, "Is it Marvel characters?"
It is Marvel characters. I'm sorry that I couldn't give you the Avengers. I'll explain why in a second. Let's let the hand play through, and then we'll clarify. Well done. That sachet of brown sugar is here for you.
Let me just see if I can get a location fix on Mr. Mark Purvis. I can't. I don't know where you are in the world, Mark, but if you're able to come to the Hilton Prague, you can collect your prize.
And say, I will throw into that a photo with myself. Just one. Let's not get greedy.
And as agreed, Lewis, who's getting a little bit annoyed that he didn't win the prize, and he says, "I'm just about to book my flight to Prague." You do get the consolation prize of a packet of sweetener for guessing the new Avengers.
Oh,
we got action.
Oh, hello. Yeah, that was enough. Yeah, Jalassi is not going to sit on these chips, is he? He is going to absolutely wield them.
I mean, we kind of expected this, though. He's now up to 8.6 million, and absolutely he's going to exploit the players who've not been here before, and he's getting the better of Boyacin as well, who, of course, was last year's runner-up.
I mean, it's an old adage about the Swedish players being aggressive nut jobs, but for want of a better word.
I think that covers it.
But yeah, Jalassi's obviously got a very aggressive streak, but it's not with wild abandon. He picks his spots, and it's just constant pressure. And I mean, you can see he's up to 172 big blinds. That's phenomenal for this point on a final table.
And look at the bottom half of the leaderboard. I mean, Mark Herm obviously is the immediate short stack, but Gomez isn't comfortable on 22 bigs, and Ben Warrington's options are limited with just 32 big blinds. So yes, just to recap, Mark Purvis wins the packet of sugar for guessing Marvel characters, and Lewis, who claims to be booking a flight to Prague, gets the consolation prize of a packet of sweetener for saying the new Avengers.
And a picture of the pyjamas available now on hashtag EPT Live. The confusion was the fact that it has Captain America, Iron Man, and the Hulk, but it also has Wolverine and Spider-Man, who, if you read the comics, have been members of the Avengers at some point, but not popularly known. Marvel characters as it was that matched the Marvel pants I wore in Deauville. No one able to capitalise on the advantage of having played almost exactly the same competition before. But nice to know that even a really weak competition such as that really gets people going.
Have we got a? Yeah, we've got a
limp.
A limp from Herm.
This is very strange. Just calling out of a 12 big blind stack.
Well, yeah.
But hey, maybe there's a plan. Well, look at that.
Yeah.
The shove now comes from Ben Warrington after Ramsey Jalassi completed from the small.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah,
that's surely going in. Sure.
Yeah, that was clearly the plan. It was a limp trap, and it seems that Ben Warrington has walked into that trap. Well, Warrington has a strong hand. He's got ace king.
Yeah. And it's going to be sixes or something.
Ace.
Oh! No. Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, it kind of smelt so trappy, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm surprised Ben Warrington looked quite so surprised when he suddenly found himself in this situation.
When an accomplished player limps with a 12 big blind stack, alarm bells should ring.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with the ace king?
Yeah, you're going to fold it because you got spider sense.
It doesn't matter how. Yeah, it doesn't matter what's happening there. That these cards are going in.
Oh, we got a sweat.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Running diamonds or a jack would not be good for Mark Herm.
Or running kings.
True.
But I mean, Warrington will still be in. He's not at risk, but yeah, dropping down to $1 million would not be great.
So 4 outs now for Warrington. He needs a jack on the river. Herm now set for a double up. And Warrington about to become the short stack at the final table.
Easy there, James. Easy. Card to come. Card to come.
The river is an 8.
Okay.
See, we needed that on the turn, just give us that extra bit
Yeah,
of
that would
drama.
have been more fun, wouldn't it? Not for Herm, obviously.
We'll fix it in post. So Herm gets the double up. And he's now playing a stack of 1.3 million. Warrington drops below the $1 million chip mark. Warrington now below 20 big blinds with 980,000. Yeah, I mean, whatever happens there, whether it's an open shove, whether it's a small bet, small raise, the money's all going in there.
I think the only way Warrington gets away from that is if Herm open shoves and someone else open shoves behind, then possibly he can find a fold with the ace king. But that aside, the ace king's always going in there.
You're always going to get maximum value when you have 12 big blinds and aces and someone has ace king.
Yes. Textbook. Easy. Easy to play poker in that instance.
At least the flop gave us a little bit of drama. So still 8-handed at this final table after 25 hands. And the two guys who are short are Ben Warrington and Diego Gomez on around 20 big blinds each. Ramsey Jalassi running away with this thing, 8.5 million. The second biggest stack belonging to Ali Plowski, who has just over 5 million. And you must remember Ali Plowski from that final table of the grand final a few seasons ago, Rick?
Came sixth, 300,000 euros, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Decent player. That was won by Nicholas Chulti that year. And that seemed to kick off an incredible run for Lebanese players. They won Country of the Year for last season, don't you know? A lot of decent players coming out of Lebanon at the moment, which is not a phrase I'd expect to have said.
Mark Herm now first to speak. Must be nice to have some yellow chips again.
Warrington looks understandably a bit gutted about the cooler, but he's got 20 bigs. He's a very good online talent. We can expect him to shove quite wide.
Yeah, I guess he's going to mix up the dynamics of the table for a bit here.
Folded to him in the small blind and he raises. And Katupas will quickly fold.
It is Jack 6 suited.
That's a defend.
Oh, I'd take the flop with that. Whoa, every time. Which is why I
Stick
every
it
time
in his eye.
come out with 800 place.
Hello to Zar1, who emails nuts@pokerstars.tv to say, why are there no table cameras at the final table?
Oh, James, this is your favourite question.
Kind of boring
Shall
watching
I press play?
fold action.
Press play on the James reply to that questionometer.
I'm going to record it and just play it out. I mean, the short answer to the question is that this is not a televised event. We don't have the table with the whole card cameras here in Prague. It's a scaled down webcast, hence the fixed cameras following the final table. I mean, hopefully you can get something out of it, and I personally think there is something to be gained from watching the action with the whole cards down, and something is better than nothing. You're not paying anything for the live stream, and no one's forcing you to watch it. That's all I'm going to say.
However, if you do want to get something for free, I'm afraid this competition's shut, but for next time round, I think at every EPT now, from days 3 through to 4, we're going to hold a competition about guessing who the eventual winner will be. And, for instance, we're giving out a bunch of T-Coop tickets this time round. So you just send to @PokerStars blog who you think is going to win. If they win, you get into the draw for a freebie, which is very nice. So keep an eye open for next time round.
And as you can see, the sad confirmation the competition is now closed. Please stop entering Mac Purse sachet brown sugar again. Just confirmation of the prize there. All right, look, they've gone crazy here.
I'd love to know what viewers of the Czech stream are thinking right now.
Oh, they have to see this as well.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Didn't know that.
If either winner or runner-up is unavailable to make it to the Hilton, they can pick it up in London. I'll stretch to that.
Will you take that back with you?
Yeah, I will do that for you. That's how much we care for our readers of the PokerStarsBlog.com.
Nice. Right. Well, there you are. That's tremendous news. That's tremendous news. Well, I'll take a picture of the sugar, put that up so you can make sure you get the right thing.
I think you should sign it for authenticity's sake.
Do you know, I'm going to sign it now. Good. Oh, thank God Dace is here. Oh, the pen doesn't work. Sorry.
I genuinely did not think at the start of today that Matt Brown would be signing a packet of sugar.
There it is. That's the sugar. We'll be sending that back via freight, i.e. in the used knicker area of Dace's luggage.
That last hand was raise and take it for David Boyasian.
Thanks. Just James, he likes to talk about the poker now and then. It's very useful to have around.
Well, it's good, you know, like the anchor.
He is. Like a big metal weight around your neck.
What was it that Barry said yesterday? I'm trying to keep the ship on course, but I do feel like the captain of the Titanic trying to turn it hard left with the iceberg approaching.
Exactly. And we're just all on the violins going, well, let's have another song.
Or down in the hold with the Irish guys having a drink.
Just getting absolutely smashed and dancing on the tables. I would love it if Gomez just freaked out and just jumped on the table. Just kicked all the chips everywhere. Well, I mean, I wouldn't. Obviously.
I think we can expect some extravagant celebrations if he does win a big pot, because that's been happening over the last few days.
The only problem is you've got to be in it to win it. And so far, he's like me at a cash table. It's like if he raises, probably someone in one of the other tournaments will fold. That's how tight.
Oh, he's playing a hand, Matt. He's playing a hand. He has defended his big blind against a Mark Herm raise.
Boom. Clash of the Titans.
And now he's going to check and fold to Herm's continuation bet.
Check. 110 will be the bet. He may as well just fold now. As soon as Herm, it's one of those games, you know, where people just reach the chip to go fold.
Yeah.
Even if you're thinking about betting, I may as well just get to the next hand. $110. Take it down. Herminator. I checked. Curious.
Wow.
Unless he's really connected with us and he's hoping maybe Gomez will string himself up a touch.
Goes check again.
I don't know what's happening here.
Have a word, ref.
I reckon he's got ace-7.
I think
Gomez,
Herm,
please bet.
I think Herm's going to check down king high and take the pot.
I don't
Because
know.
I can't see Gomez bluffing at this.
Story checks out.
Yeah, I think Herm was dreaming that Gomez would try and steal that, and actually Herm had the goods.
What? Gomez now comes to life with a raise.
Yeah, is who knows? Is Jack 10? Is Jack 10 finally connected? Let's plug in the Guessatron. The Guessatron for 5 minutes, where we have to guess exactly what hand he's got. I don't want to range. Yeah, I just...
You want suits and everything.
Spin the Guessatron. It was the Jack 10 of spades. Mark going, oh.
Yeah.
oh, I see. That's right. He's got a 7. He's got a 7.
Herm just looks like he's going to make a slightly annoyed fold, but
And the raise is to 325,000. Sizable raise. And while Herm makes his decision, Satiris observes on Twitter that the dealer at our table now is huge. He is a big guy.
He does tower above seats 1 and 8 for sure. Maybe he's just got better posture. It's very hard to have good posture when you're a poker player. You spend an enormous amount of time hunched over. don't think this is the hand Mark Home was expecting.
No.
This has not gone exactly as he had foreseen.
See, but it's a moment like this where the introduction of a shot clock would be a little bit harsh.
Yeah,
Although it would speed things up.
it would speed up things. I think the thing that might be useful, I think it still has to be in the hands. As you say, you called it. It was a slightly annoyed fold.
Annoyed faults. Oh, he even did the cheek puff.
I have absolutely nothing. Oh, it's all happening. Boom.
Look at that lion roar.
And I'd like to call the other. I said he'd do the extravagant celebration if he wins the pot.
Yeah, you were 2 for 2 there. It was a slightly annoyed fold from the American, and the Spaniard to his feet. Hurrah.
And who would have thought that a man dressed in a child's pyjamas would behave like that?
What you got against child's pyjamas? All I was about to say is when we were talking about the fact that it should still be down to the players for the clock, I think one thing that might be interesting is if there was a clock that counted if somebody got into a bit of timing, a clock that let people know, well, actually, it has been 3 minutes now. Do you know what I mean? Because I think your sense of time, sometimes you think, actually, has it been 3 minutes or has it only been a minute?
But like any of these things, the theory and the idea is one thing. How do you actually put these things into practicality at a tournament? I mean, there's one thing where you've got the setup of a final table where you've got lots of people attending it, but on the normal tournament floor, and then you can't have one for a TV feature table, but not for the 12 other tables which are in play. But also, I'd like to point out that our kind of slightly niggling comments about Gomez having no heart have been proved wrong, seeing as he just check raised with air. So,
Good
well
on him.
played.
It strikes me as very much pub poker move there, and I'm going to be quite frank about that. It's a bit of a when you're with your mates and you go, there you are. Eh? How'd you like that then? Check raise, yeah, with nothing. This is the final table of an EPT main event. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that on an EPT final table. But I like it.
It's a little bit like the check back earlier with the ace jack. Are you thinking that you're going to get check raise bluffed? If you are, then you're going to check back certain hands that you'd otherwise bet thinly. But I can't imagine Herm would have thought he'd get check raise bluffed there.
No.
So,
Herm is all in, by the way. Jalassi open to 100,000. Herm 3-bet shoved, and the shove gets through. A few seconds left on the clock. I'm not sure if that's the last hand of the level. We might have time for one more. We certainly have time for a piece of poetry, because Olaf has sent this in. Is a nice name, Diego Gomez from Spain. Like German soccer, Wolfsburg via Bayern on the end, Gomez win. The first bit worked, the second bit, not so much.
Yeah, very much not working mostly.
or perhaps it was just an elongated haiku rather than classic poetry. And we do have another hand.
Yeah, and Sammy the Freezing Finn says, I like much more to watch the EPT live than on a 1 hour delay like in Barcelona with whole cards. Don't like getting spoilers. Yeah, we try to avoid the spoilers. Problem is you can't stop poker players tweeting about their own progress in a tournament.
True enough.
It's raised from the cut-off with Plowski.
Yeah, feeling pretty quiet for a little while here. Everyone else has run off. Make the most of the break. Kuzminski is going to come along. Gilles is just going to sit and nurse his chips for a little second.
So Jack 10-5 rainbow flop.
Surely the big blind has connected with that in some shape or form. You don't tend to defend with a hand that doesn't connect with Jack 10 that often.
By the way, as Jalassi leaves the table, he leaves behind a stack of 8.4 million. He is the monster chip leader after the first hour and a half of play today.
Oh, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, I know he came in as chip leader, but that is just roaring success. That was a little line, the segue there. I know it was the wrong player, and it was accidental, so I don't even know I mentioned it.
Apart from that, perfect.
Apart from that, it was spotted on.
Plowski, by the way, is second in chips at the moment. Let's see how this hand pans out for him.
Do you think when Lion King became a musical, literally every single journalist was just gagging to say that it was a roaring success. Do you think there was like literally every single newspaper, they all fell over themselves to get that out?
I'd imagine most sub-editors were, anyway.
Yeah.
While you're talking about lions, by the way, Howard Swains, your colleague from the PokerStars blog, wishes it to be known that the lion had no courage. It was the Tin Man who had no heart. Dacey is embarrassing himself and us. Get him off.
No, I said about courage.
Yeah, I did realise that Broughton picked me up on that, and I realised that I had made a mistake, but unlike Swains, who is
Petty.
a big fan of Schadenfreude, he loves pointing out other people's failings. And he's got many of his own.
Well, when you've got nothing going on yourself, you have to just pick up on other people's weaknesses, don't you?
So Kosminski wins that hand with a bet on the river. We are now going to take a 20-minute break. The players will do the same. We'll come back with the blinds up to 40 and 80,000. Our thanks to Rick Dacey, staff writer at the PokerStars blog.
Pleasure.
Matt and I will be back shortly as we continue to play down from 8 to a winner here at the Prague leg of the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour.